So hello everyone, welcome to an episode of How I Paid Forward. Today we have Athenia Rodney from Umoja events, and she's here to talk to us about the events that she has going on right now, how she got to where she is, and just her journey. So Athenia, thank you so much for being here with us. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Athenia Rodney. I'm CEO and founder of Umoja Event, and I am co-creator and organizer of the Juneteenth New York City Festival that has been housed here for about 12 years now. And we have been organizing and putting this together. And as I always say, each year we want to make it bigger and better. So this year we will be having it as a 3-day summit. So it'll start on June the 18th and it'll be ending on the 20th. The 18th is health and wellness on Saturday. The 19th is all about entrepreneurial excellence. And then on the 20th, which is Sunday, we are talking about our young people. So we're having a Juneteenth POMP for our young people who are looking to go into entrepreneurship.
So a very eventful week you're gonna have with a lot
Yeah,
of
definitely.
things going on. So if you could tell us a little bit about how you came to be the CEO of Umoja Events and the co-creator of this very huge and important event. Like, how did you start and how did you get here?
Sure. So I started in college with doing events, right? So when I went to college at first, I was a first generation college grad. So and the oldest of my family out of four. And so it was a big to do with going into college, and I got a full tuition scholarship through the Posse program and went to Middlebury College in Vermont. And it was, I would say, the most scariest and most life-changing experience of my life. I went out there, and I tell you no lie, the first time I ever went, I cried because all I saw on my way there were trees and cows. Okay. And as a city girl, I was not prepared for that at all. Um, but I guess with the spirit that God put in me, he was like, wherever you are is where the party is. And so I started to encourage my friends from New York to come up to visit at least once a month, and we would put on parties with different themes, different topics. And then we started doing some panel discussions. We started talking about some cultural activities. So I was always in a space where I was bringing people together and creating events. So when I graduated, it was only natural that I came back and I started promoting for some large clubs and restaurants that were just opening up as my part-time gig while I was doing teaching and doing education in on the full-time side. So that's kind of how I had gotten started. I had gotten pregnant, gotten married, and then I lost my job. And my husband at the time, he is a DJ, well-known DJ, and one of his friends was starting a club, and he asked my husband to DJ for him at the club. So what ended up happening was his friend asked us to see if I would manage the club for him. And so began my business where it was just a nightclub for him, but I ended up taking it and making it to so much more. I started introducing events into the space so that we were doing like a Valentine's Day event and comedy shows. And then I started reaching out to to organizations and businesses that were near the club to house their meetings and their staff outings and do different types of activities. So my business basically was born from all of that, and I've been continuing to do that ever since. And now my son is about to be 12, so I've been doing that for almost 13 years now.
So now, once you graduated from Vermont and you went back and you started everything, honestly, really inspiring. What is something that's pulling you and that gives you the passion to serve the Bronx community and to create all the events that you have right now?
So the Brooklyn community, you mean? You
Oh,
said
I'm so
Bronx.
sorry, the Brooklyn. I am so sorry.
No worries. What continue? So I would say the fact that I grew up, very low income, and on public assistance most of my life. And for me, what was always in my heart is that I need to get out of this. And I knew that the only way that I can get out of it is by, educating myself, getting a good education so that I can get a good job and be able to help and support my family to do the same. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So when I came back, it was really for me to figure out how to be a better person and how to make the people around me to level them up at the same time, right? One of the things is, not staying stagnant. And that's one of the things that, the Bible talks about. And um, so those were, the initial things for me. The second became when I had children. Like I said, education was very important to me, and I learned a lot in my own trajectory in going to college. That there were a lot of missteps and there were a lot of holes that I felt like the system failed me at. And my goal was to make sure that my children and those who didn't have a voice or who were not in the same place had somebody to talk on their behalf. My mom, is I'm a first generation American because my mom is from Venezuela, and she grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. And my father, on my father's side, they're Shinnecock Indian American. So I had two dualities, or actually three dualities in my household, a Hispanic, Caribbean, and then, Indian American. So there were a number of different challenges that, that presented themselves in the house for me growing up. And um, there are a lot of things I didn't know until I got to college, until I met people who were from particular cultures and was challenged by the idea of who I am. Like, by the different foods. I don't know the difference. The food gets cooked and I eat it. Like, I don't know what's Caribbean, what's Hispanic, all of those things. It's all one and the same to me. But when I went to organizations and we're doing meals and everybody's eating and they're like, oh, well, that's a Caribbean dish or that's a Hispanic dish. So, those things definitely, helped me to come back to my community and say, like, how are we going to change the narrative so that not only that our children get to grow up in a better space than we did.
Mm. And I feel like more people are becoming more aware about Juneteenth, but a lot of people still are not familiar with it. So if you could give us like a brief explanation or what you would like people to take away from it and why is it important?
Sure. So, what we say is that Juneteenth is the Black Fourth of July, right? It was the commemoration of when um, they found out that they were free in Galveston, Texas. So we basically harmonize that by saying that we are celebrating this day for families and for the culture, right? So again, changing the narrative, and what does that look like for us? How do we celebrate all things that are good, not just about slavery? Slavery was a part of our past, but it is not the full past of who we are as a culture. And so with Juneteenth, we are continuing to educate, empower, and use entertainment as well, because in the Black community, we love engaging each other in entertainment and we love coming together. And that's the space that we utilize for the platform. And through that, we always have a topic that we are focusing on. This year, we are focusing on getting back to the Black Wall Street, so that people know that we used to be able to take care of our own. There were little infighting. There were times where we had whole communities, and unfortunately, it got burnt down. And we have had a hard time with trying to rebuild in that capacity. So, trying to understand what we're missing, how we can work together in co-collaboration so that we can rebuild our community from the inside out. What are some of the issues that are ailing us as a community? That's why I said we're starting the week off with health and wellness, because one of the main things that are ailing us are our own battles and how we are mentally dealing with each day, and the challenges that come with each day. And then the next is social promotion, right? How are we sustaining ourselves? How are we sustaining our families? And then on Sunday, we're talking about the youth, another level again of sustainment. If we feel like we can't do it, the best thing to do is to pour the knowledge into our young people so that they can lead the way and make a change for us.
Mm. And talking about empowerment and inspiring the young people, you have a pageant that's supposed to encourage young entrepreneurs between the ages of 13 to 19. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So on the Sunday, we are doing it's called the POMP, the Juneteenth POMP. So I was very resistant to doing a pageant for a very long time because I saw a number of the other organizations around the country were doing pageants.
Mm.
And I was very resistant because I thought that pageants were just about beauty.
That's what
Um,
I
and
thought.
and so I was like, I was never a part of a pageant. Growing up, I never felt like I was that beautiful. I was a darker skinned, and those weren't, and growing up in the 80s and 90s, those weren't the things that were highlighted. People who were a lighter hue, even in my own family, being Hispanic, the family members who were lightest were those who got more attention and were favored the most. So it just was never something that was on my radar, until I met a friend, Marjorie. We went through a rites of passage program, and she was entering the contest as a Mrs. To be a Mrs. New York. And I was like, well, tell me a little bit about that, and why are you interested in it? And she shared that it was more about humanitarian work. And I was like, wow, that hit home. I was like, okay, now when you're talking about humanitarian work, now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
So I wanted to change it up. So I didn't want to use the word pageant when we had our title. So that's why we had the Juneteenth pomp, because it's really a presentation day where we will be working with our young people. They will go through a 9-week session where they will be learning etiquette classes. They'll be learning different coaching, business and finance. They'll be doing dinner etiquette. They'll be learning a dance from our Rockettes. So we have some former Rockettes who have graciously offered to give their time. So we are focusing our pomp or the presentation day on entrepreneurs. So as long as they have an idea of some sort, or some humanitarian ideas as well that they would like to present, we will have mentors that will be working side by side with them to support them in their idea and to be able to present it. So they will be doing their presentation on the 20th, and inviting the entire family and friends to be a part of it. The winners will win a $500 cash reward. They will get advertisement on social media on all of the Juneteenth platforms that we're associated with. They will get a free table to present themselves at our next Juneteenth in 2022, which is almost a $400 or $500. So already they're almost at $2,000. And then we have partnered with a program called WEBO, Workshop Business Opportunity Scholarship, where they are going to do a 10-week program to help them do a business proposal. And that's a over $1,500 scholarship. and they will be getting that all for free. So we are
A huge
very
prize.
excited. Yeah, definitely. So we've been working really, really hard to make sure that it's a well-rounded event, and well-rounded offering to our young people, because we know that they're special, in our hearts, and they need the support, they need the encouragement, and there are not a lot of programs out there that are doing that for them.
Mhm.
It is a small ask that we're asking to participate. It is only $200, but we do have scholarships available. So we hope that that is not the thing that deters anyone who is interested in participating.
So that's, first of all, that's a huge prize, and the main value of it and the main objective of it is to empower young color entrepreneurs to
Yes.
put themselves out there, and that sounds amazing. So I really hope that people are not hindered by that. But could you tell us a little, by the small fee, but could you tell us a little bit more about the scholarships and how can people apply for it if they're interested?
Sure. So how they would apply. So they would apply by going to our website, which is Juneteenthny.com. So that's JUNET as in Tom, EENTHNY.com.
Amazing. I will put also the link in the description below so that people can go to it in case that
Thank
they
you.
are interested. And thank you so much for talking to us about this. This seems like a great opportunity. I really hope that a lot of people apply and that the POP is an amazing event. You're only accepting applications from now until April 7th, correct?
Yes, I am. Mhm.
Great. So, thank you so much for talking with us today. It was really inspiring hearing your story and hearing how you were able to become the CEO of Umoja events and
Thank
just
you.
doing everything you have out there to give back to the community and paying it forward. So, do you have any recommendations or any tips for other people that might be struggling right now or might want to end up where you are at one day to keep trying and keep looking out for their dream? What would you tell yourself when you were struggling?
Sure. Find what you do well and continue to do it is one, and then the other, which I feel like is the bedrock of building relationships: never burn bridges.
Mm,
Um, one thing that I've learned is that a person that I met 5 or 10 years ago, you think that's going to be the last time that you see them, and it turns around that they are now the CEO, or they are a funder or a sponsor or somebody that I need or that needs me. So never burn bridges, because you never know when you have to cross that bridge again.
mm. And would you tell people why it is important to give back and to pay forward the earnings that you have right now? Because a lot of people, they make it and they tend to forget about the community. So what is something you would tell others to inspire them to help?
Sure. So something I would tell others to inspire them to come to give back. Um, I will say for myself, the reason why, I give back is because I know, if it were not for those who reached back and who gave back for me, they are the reason why I am the person I am today. So knowing that people are always watching, regardless of what you think about yourself, somebody's watching you as a mentor, somebody's looking up to you, and they're looking at how they should be and who they should be. And we just hope that you are acting as an example of someone who you would want in your time of need, because everyone has their day when they're going to need something or need someone. Even the richest of people need, so by giving back to other people, you're showing that you are human, and that that there's a space for us all.
Thank you so much, Athenia. This was Athenia Rodney from Umoja Events. I am going to leave a link below for anyone who is interested in signing up for the POP event for the Juneteenth. And thank you
Thank-
so much for being with us today.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Frida. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Have a
you. It's been a pleasure as well.
Bye bye.